this is America kind of thing. You know, what's been happening in the black and brown communities has been crazy. But then you see this film When They See Us, and it's like, oh, this happened to the formerly known as Central Park 5, right? But this is what's happening to black and brown people all around the globe.
That's right.
And so America is this petri dish of, you know, I call it the criminal system of injustice, you know.
That's the best thing about social media and everything that's going on and creating movies and Netflix and all these outlets. I grew up in it. So I lived it and I experienced it being from Queens, and we seen it. And we seen the effect of media and the ads that Donald Trump took out, but then you forget about it, like lost it for I don't even know how many years, 20 years, 30 years?
30 years.
30 years. And now the fact that it's back and now it can be documented and something that we can look at all and see how the judicial system really affects us and takes advantage of our youth.
You think about how those ads that Donald Trump took out also harmed the whole situation. Like, that should have been illegal, of him asking them to bring back the death penalty. And, you know, he still hasn't admitted that he's wrong.
Right. No, not at all. But you know what's crazy about that, right? This ad was taken out 2 weeks after we were accused. We hadn't even gone to trial yet.
Right.
And so they looked at us and said, oh yeah, Corey looks like a rapist. Yusef looks like a rapist.
Correct.
Antron, Kevin, Raymond, you know what I'm saying? They
What does a
basically
rapist look like?
Right.
A black man?
A black man. A black man. A person
Black
with this skin color. If they're accused, they're not accused, they're actually the culprit. And that's the biggest problem of the criminal justice system. They look at people and automatically cast judgment. This man took out $85,000 of his own money to pay for these ads to run in New York City's newspapers. That's a lot. That was a lot of money then. That's a lot of money now.
A lot of money now.
A lot of folks don't have $85,000 sitting in the bank, you know? And so for him to do that, it gave a nod to everybody in the darkest place of society to then think about, what can we do to these guys? Pat Buchanan started writing about Corey in the papers. He said, let's take the eldest one and hang him from a tree in Central Park.
Wow.
Now you look at the series and you realize Corey wasn't even, one, he wasn't even a suspect.
Right.
And two, he became the magic that freed us.
He went down there for the support.
He came down there for me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
But you think that the legal system's in place to actually protect you, and then you get down there and they did everything that you're not supposed to do. Now, are those practices still legal today, where you can actually, they starved you, they kept your family members away from you?
That shit happens right now.
You know what the real law is? The real law is white supremacy, white male dominance.
That's right.
That's the only law that is recognized in America.
I say it all the time. Old white men have been the parasites of this country. They're the problem with this country. Every fucked up law, even now from the abortion bill to everything, is because of old white men.
Talk about it, man. That's what it is. And that's a problem. But see, one of the most beautiful things about this is that we survived this. He did almost 14 years.
So pretty much, as I find myself learning from the documentary up to now, this would be what I was feeling from him when I was inside. After me learning from the documentary with Trump being in there, I said, now I understand where my slugger was coming from.
And that's hard. Because it was like, you know, you said one day recently, you said, this right here was Donald Trump placing a bounty on our head.
That's right.
It was.
That's right.
And all of the hell that he experienced, all of the fact that he had to fight for his life for real. You see what I'm saying? Shoot, you say that this is life after death for you.
Yeah.
You say that Corey died in prison.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So that even the emergence of who Corey is now is like, I've heard him say, man, he's fighting for the Corey that couldn't fight. He's fighting for those Corys.
Do you forgive everybody involved, the woman, the prosecutor, the officers? Because people say forgiving is the best therapy or things like that. Do you forgive?
No.
Word.
I'm
Fuck
with you,
them.
brother. I'm with you.
Fuck that.
I'm with you too.
I'm with you.
I'm with you 100%.
It was pretty much as of lately, when they showed the new 30 years later, 2020. Then I find myself looking at all the players involved, and even she didn't have nothing to do with the rest of it. All she had to do was just hear about Reyes, Mateus, and keep it moving. But she stuck around for the rest. Talk about the victim herself. And when I found myself getting an extra from her, you know, as far as the lawsuit and everything, and from the Supreme Court, she was like, well, I feel that the judge should have waited a little. I said, This has nothing to do with you. You got your little money, this has nothing to do with you. You already found out who violated you. My state of mind, keep off of that. Don't get extra with that. Because our hands is not on your dining room table, don't put yours on ours. Or we get so, when I'm hearing, damn, these people here are so prejudiced, man.
Yeah.
You just, as far as they're concerned, in their eyes, you just belong on welfare. You stay on welfare. If we was white kids, I believe we should give them more. So that's what I got from them. So long story short from that, you know, as far as all the knockouts is concerned, I get it from the world's famous picture with Ali, and I think Sonny Listeners on there, and he was on the ground. So that's what the movie is doing to the system now. It's knocking everybody out.
Yeah.
It's knocking them out, and it's taking them out. As I found myself learning, the district attorney passed away before his 100th birthday. So I was glad that he overturned it and took it to his grave with him. Because if he ain't overturned it, it'd been about at least another 30, 40 more years for another district attorney to overturn the case. So I was just, wow.
How does it affect y'all personally that the judicial system is still flawed so many years after y'all wrongful conviction?
Well, I think to echo what Corey's saying, you know, we're looking at a victim who's white, who in her privilege, like in her victimhood, there's still privilege. You see what I'm saying? And so everything is pointing to the fact that we had nothing to do with it, but yet her doctors are saying, but your injuries are more consistent with a gang rape. Like the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, proved that we didn't do nothing.
Right.
We had nothing to do with this, you know? And so I feel like there's so much that we still have to do. There's so many future generations that we have to affect. We got to plant seeds in their minds and in their hearts so that they understand that they are the answers that we seek. Because the reality is that what they did to us as a people and continue to do is our friend and teacher, Dr. Angela Davis, she said, we as a people have historical amnesia. But the fact of the matter is that we've been socialized not to know. They keep information from us.
That's right.
So that as we look at the landscape, we say, damn, this is brand new. Man, they just started shooting people in the back? No, they've been doing that in our communities for years. This is America. This is the criminal system of injustice. This is how things have been. And so we have a long way to go, but I feel like we're knocking it down, like Corey said. We got them on the ropes because the whole globe is beginning to respond to what's going on in America. They're responding to this case, but this case is a microcosm of the macrocosm of cases just like it. This is only maybe one of the most famous examples of cases just like this.
And for people who didn't know about it, from the next generation that weren't alive and weren't experiencing this in New York when it happened, the docuseries actually brought so much attention. And people that had no idea what happened with that story, people still thought, because Donald Trump still won't say that you guys weren't guilty, they thought that they just had no idea what the true story was behind it.
Yeah. I came across a box of letters that I had never seen before. A lot of them had no return address, but they were sent to us.
Wow.
We all received this stuff. But then I picked up one, and as I'm reading it, I realized my mother had received this type of stuff while we were first arrested, and she had been dealing with the prison of what it's like to be free, like be a parent and have a loved one in prison.
Right.
That was a hard thing. This letter right here, just to kind of give you an idea of my reality when I came home. This letter says to Yusuf Salam, this letter is to let you know that your name has been placed on the list of enemies of society by the Citizens Army New York City branch. You made a decision when you became one of the pack that decided that Central Park was your arena and decided to attack and violate honest citizens who happened to be in the park. Now, this is the part that's a kicker. So just remember that even 20 to 30 years from now, some of us will never forget. And maybe the one time that you don't check your back is the one time that somebody might just be there to say hello.
Wow.
And so you think about like where we are in the country, in the Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump's America.
Yeah.
This is an America where.
Can I read the rest of that?
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
looks, this isn't a racial letter.
Yeah,
What is
yeah.
it then?
I mean, at the end of the day, people chose sides. They've always picked sides, and we've been the ones that they've already said, you know what, we're expendable.
Absolutely.
And
Called you a mutant animal with no conscience.
But this was sent to all of us, not understanding anything about the law. A lot of times now, if we see somebody being arrested or something like that, we like, yo, we know our rights.
Right.
You know, we start talking to the cops. But Miranda says you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law if you fail to remain silent. And so not even being wise enough to understand the chess move that was being played on us. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Right.
Man.
Like, I got a
Imagine if
part
he
of me 'cause
would have never, ever.
I gotta leave, y'all. I got a part of me, but thank you guys.
Listen,
for what
oh, listen.
you've done.
Okay. All right.
And the reason I say thank you is because you opened up a conversation. When Ava was here, Ava DuVernay was here, we opened up a conversation to help teach these youth,
Yes,
and teach
indeed.
kids what to do when they get pulled over, what they need to say, what they need to watch out for, and what they need to be careful for, and even the parents, what they can do. And a lot of times that conversation is not had in our community. You know what I mean? We always want to give the middle finger, and we always try to talk ourselves out of a situation. But sometimes, like you said, just being quiet is the best way to get ourselves
Yes,
out.
indeed.
And thank you guys, man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Envy.
Blessings.
How did Ava's depiction of the story change your life this far?
Wow. I think in a good way, because she was able to take this story that all of the negative players, meaning like the system, she was able to take the story and turn it inside out so that people can see the humanized version of us, to understand what was really at stake, that we didn't deserve that we literally had a huge chunk of our lives taken away from us,
Right.
and a lot of us do. And here we came back and we were able to survive somehow. You know?
A lot of us didn't know the details either.
Right, and the details was the stuff that they didn't want you to know on purpose, because they wanted people to think just like the jogger, right? They wanted everybody to think, including the jogger, that they had done their job.
Right.
They're
Case closed. We solved this case.
right,
Yeah.
but they were so invested with this case, and here it is. All of our families, all of the people that were supporting us was like, you got the wrong guys. These guys didn't do it. You had Kevin Richardson, who was picked up that night with Raymond Santana. No forensic. I mean, they had Kevin saying that she scratched him.
Right.
There's no forensic evidence underneath her fingernails. Like, no skin from Kevin is underneath her fingernails. There's no evidence that anybody was in the park near this woman. But yet you're painting this picture like you got the right people. And because they got stuck with that lie, there could have been a young pregnant Latina woman who was his next victim. She could have been alive today.
Absolutely.
Her unborn child could have been alive
Absolutely.
today.
That's why I never understood. I'm like, wouldn't it benefit the community for you to actually go get the right person?
Exactly.
Instead of any person.
But this is America. This is how the justice system always operates. You know what I'm saying? And if they do get the right person, right?
You
The
still
right
can't get
person.
out.
I mean, if you happen to have a name like Dylan Roof, right, and they come and get you,
You get some Burger King.
they take you to Burger King. and, you know, they catch you alive.
Right. And the crazy thing is that
He got
if
beat up in jail,
he
though.
would have never confessed, right? If Reyes would have never said it was him, you guys' names might never have
It
been
would have never
cleared. And you got to think how many people are still in that situation who didn't commit a crime in jail. And then it's not even just once you get out, you have that record, but people really believe that you are a rapist.
Yeah, that's wild.
I'm looking at all them letters, man. Somebody said they wanted to castrate you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When did that ever stop? That hate mail? Or?
I think it changed. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more supporters now than there were back then. Even when we came home from prison, it wasn't
Yeah.
popular to be one of us.
Right.
We took that Central Park jogger brand and we rose to the occasion and was like, yeah, we're one of them. You know what I'm saying? And so we took it and made it like a cape for us, you know, a superpower. Whereas there was a lot of folks who, even to this day, I'm telling people about Donald Trump and they're like, nah, he's not like that. Your eyes are lying to you because we've seen all kind of other stuff that has been going on. But this right here, he did this.
Yeah.
And in here, he says something like, and this is kind of like, after you read the bulk of it, he says criminals must be told that their civil liberties end when attack on our safety begins. If through the 13th Amendment they're looking at black and brown folks It clearly states that we can turn you back to a slave for the punishment of a crime.
Absolutely.
And so if they're looking at black and brown folks as the criminal element, then who is he talking about? The R, civil liberties, is the constituents that don't look like us.
Absolutely.
You look at a person like Linda Fairstein and you realize she, Elizabeth Lederer, the officers that were involved, the media that wrote the story in a way that made sure that the public opinion was swayed to make sure we got convicted, all of those people were working for evil.
Yes.
Without even realizing it. Like you're trying to get ahead in life. Like in the series, one of the attorneys comes to Linda Fairstein and says, can you at least give them a fighting chance?
Right.
And she says, this is not about law anymore. This is about politics. So they're talking about whether you live or die. They're talking about building their careers off of our backs. What I want people to understand is that look at where we are now 30 years later. Nobody would have ever thought that this truth would have came out. And that everybody else that was involved, not only are we trying to find out what went wrong with the Central Park jogger case, but we're trying to figure out what other cases did they do this to as well.